Hey there, this is Chris with Patch. I'm here with Mayor Josh Schlicher. How you doing today?
Great. How are you doing?
Doing good, thanks for asking. So what's going on in Marietta this week?
Well, a lot of projects as usual.
Right.
Yeah, we still have the continuing projects that we talked about last week. Of course, water, wastewater. Some of the street projects we have going on, such as the fiber project, the traffic signal improvements. We're pretty much gearing up right now towards the all-out rollout program starting here in a couple weeks or next week, and we're going to coordinate that with the National Public Works Week. So we've never done it before because the Public Works Department is a new department that we formed last year. So we're going to celebrate Public Works Week nationally, and we're also joining the National Public Works Association, which we've never been a member of, and it's just a good program to be a member of. Just like any other organization, a lot of resources and other communities doing the same thing that we're doing. Marietta's not unique. We provide the same services as the other communities, but seems like every city is a little unique with maybe the ability to fund and their staff levels and the projects that they're working on. So we feel it's a good investment to be a member of that. So we're working on that, and then May 16th through the 22nd will be the National Public Works Week celebration.
Okay.
And then all that rollout will be starting right before that. We're going to run that pretty much all the way through May, into June.
Okay.
And once we get some of these little projects that we're working on now just to get done, like the Aquatic Center, we have deadlines for those projects. We want to get those done for the opening of the pool and just other events that are going on around town. We want certain things finished by timelines, but all out rollout will fill in after those, and we'll run that for at least a month to 6 weeks, maybe even 2 months, depending on weather and other projects that we get involved in. But that's all our rollout programs mainly concentrated to neighborhoods.
Okay.
And a lot of sidewalk work, street work, checking lights, checking signs, checking trees, tree trimming, and hazard removal. And we really want to be focused on the neighborhoods and focused on the residents' needs.
And who else going to be involved with this all-out rollout?
Mainly it's the Public Works Department,
okay,
which will be the main driver, but all the departments will have some play into it, even down to the police department providing traffic control when we need it.
Right.
Fire department's been checking, in the past they've been checking fire hydrants and working on identifying any hazards or any residents lacking proper identification, meaning address visible and address numbers. So they've been checking all that. Last year we did that, and they built up a huge list of residents that need proper identification. So notices when we did it, notices went out during that time to bring it to their attention. And then this year will be just a checking to see who complied, who still hasn't.
Gotcha. And
we'll follow up again with them.
So how about the door? Have you signed that?
Door, yeah, signed it. I signed it Friday.
You signed it on Friday?
Yeah. So law director is getting ready to sign the paperwork that he needs to sign to send on to
this week too?
Yeah, he's actually working on it now.
Okay.
So that information will go then to the Department of Commerce, Liquor Control, and then once they do the approval, then it'll come back to us, and we'll start putting up signs, making sure all the other conditions are met.
When do you think that all that will?
We're shooting for the first Friday in June to have everything ready to go.
Okay.
With the door. That's the plan as of right now. The schedules.
Not Memorial Day?
No, it'll be. I think we won't have it by then.
Okay.
Yeah, it'll be the first. Yeah, Marietta Main Street's trying to kick it off with the first Friday of June.
Okay, and it's National Corrections Officer Week.
Yeah. Yeah, we, of course, we don't have a jail, so we
Right.
don't have that, but, we support, the Washington County Sheriff's Office. We use the county jail, and so we support our neighboring law enforcement agencies that have corrections officers. Yeah, that's an important part that they fulfill that we use, and so we definitely support them. And then Police Week will be coming up too.
Okay.
National Police Week. That's in May. So, and we're going to do a few things with that. I'd like to have an open house with the police department. It's kind of tricky still with COVID going on. Last year I wanted to have it, and we didn't do it. Just give the community the time that they can come in, see the department, visit with officers, get to know the officers. We want to be community-based when it comes to police and fire services, and we want to build the trust with the public, or build more trust with the public. Locally, we have a pretty good trust with the public. We don't have like other communities have, where we've got a lot of complaints. We have a pretty solid record of delivering good services without any complaints or any kind of major events with the police. We want to keep it that way.
Right.
And the biggest thing we can do is build those community response and community relations. And so we'd like to do that. So yeah, we're going to be working on that. We got a meeting coming up with the stakeholders for the downtown area for the Lock 1 Park that we're going to build behind the Armory. Pickering's designing that for us, and they're going to have a staff or a stakeholder meeting with everybody. The date hasn't been set yet, but we're working on firming that up.
Okay.
We'll put that out for everybody. Engineering's put together the 2021 paving project profile right now. We were not successful this year getting the OPWC grant, which that is the big contributor to our paving operations in the city. So we had to kind of scale back the project and change a few streets. So the streets that we thought we were going to pave this year were going to be put on the burner for 22. Second Street was one of them. We were hoping to get Second Street between Montgomery and Washington paved. So we're going to have to do some spot patching there to get it to last another year. So we're putting that together. I'll give you a rundown real quick of the streets, that way you have those. It would be Hart Street, 6th to Pike, Laramie up on Harmer Hill from Wyoming to Edgewood, 5th Street, Montgomery to Ferguson, Ferguson Street would be the alley, east of 4th to the dead end, and then Spring Street, Colgate to Holly. And then an alternate would be Lancaster, Lancaster from Clark to Pershing, and then Pershing from Lancaster to Doris, and then Doris Avenue, Pershing to the dead end. And every single one of those streets, none of them broke 60 on the PCR rating. They were all failure. So,
okay.
Yeah,
so these are all streets that are going to be patched this week?
No, these will be paved this year.
This year?
Yeah. And they will be, there's 3 that are in an alternate state, which means if we don't get enough financing, we'll have to push those back a little bit. But we're hoping, the way we have it planned right now, we should be paving all those this year.
Right.
So, yeah. But yeah, we had to take a few off that we had planned that we can't do. One thing that we did do is we're up. We used to put an 1.25 inch overlay on everything. We mill it and then overlay it. Now we're gonna do 1.5 inches, just to try to get them to last a little bit longer. And there's gonna be some drainage work with those also. We've identified some problems. There's some base problems that need corrected too. And it should be a pretty good program. I wish we had enough money to do about 5 times that, but we don't have the funding to do it. We're actually going to be using some supplemental income tax money on these streets. That's the money that the voters approved to spend on maintenance and reconstruction for streets. There's going to be a few curb ramps put in there also, some ADA curb ramps, but yeah, other than that, that'll be the program this year. We're going to do, like I said last time we talked, a lot of crack sealing. We're going to have to get into a lot of preventative maintenance on streets to really get the PCI rating up into the 70s and maintain it that way, or even get it higher than that. We've got to really get down to cost-effective, proactive maintenance of streets. So we're working on that, and the engineer's office does the paving profile, and then Public Works Department is going to be in charge of all the maintenance.
Okay.
So we're kind of splitting the duties up between the engineer and the Public Works Department, and they're focused more on the paving, and we're just doing in-house maintenance that we can do.
Right.
So.
Okay.
Yeah, other than that, we got a few more trucks that came in today.
Oh, yeah?
For the new ones that came in. So we're working on that, and the public's probably seeing the rebranding of all the other trucks around
Right,
town.
right.
So,
Oh, that's another thing that's going on, is you're having the new leased
Yeah.
vehicles, city vehicles. What are these, what kind of, who would be driving these vehicles?
Well, everybody. Today we got we got some new water trucks, the water billing department.
Okay.
That goes out and does the shutoffs and
Sure.
The turn-ons for water. They have 2 new trucks hitting the fleet. Their trucks were pushing. One was pushing almost 16 years old, and one's about 12 years old, I think.
Mm-hmm.
So they got some mileage, and one of them, the seat was completely ripped out of it almost, just getting in and out of it all day.
Right.
So we're really happy to see that we're getting new vehicles, and not only our employees are going to be safer driving in them, but we're going to have a better public image to the public, and it's in the long run, it's going to be cost effective for us to do that.
So when are you going to have all the new vehicles?
Well, we have about 86, I think, in the fleet total.
Okay.
And then about 50 some of them are trucks, admin vehicles, lightweight vehicles. The rest of them are heavy, fire trucks and all the other specialty vehicles we have. We're trying right now. This year we'll have about half of the regular fleet replaced.
Okay.
So half of the pickup trucks and the cars and SUVs that we use will be totally replaced. And then we're putting hopefully a program together. It probably won't be this year, it'll be next year. We'll put it together at the end of this year, but they'll probably be rolling in next year to replace probably another 12 vehicles or so. And primarily, a lot of them will be public safety vehicles. It's more police and fire vehicles.
Okay.
And with the 26 that we're taking this year, we're in pretty good shape. We got rid of a lot of the older, pushing 20-year-old vehicles.
Right.
We even have one dump truck out there in the fleet that's 30 years old. It's still running, but
wow.
it's time to
Yeah.
replace that one too.
For
So,
sure.
we're just happy that we can make that commitment and get it updated, get new vehicles. So that's going on. Swore in a new firefighter last week.
Right.
So he's off to the fire academy, and we're up to full. When he comes back, we'll be up to full staff in the fire
Right.
department. And police department, we're still with full staff there. We don't have any retirements right now in that department. That department's kind of unique. About half the department has been changed over in the last 5 or 6 years with just retirements and people moving on. So not really much change there. But yeah, just starting street work, and we were planning on starting some crack sealing this week, but now the weather isn't working for us. So
Gotcha.
we that's one thing with Public Works Department. There's Plan A and Plan B, and Plan B being if you get a rainy day, that we start cleaning catch basins, or we clean out drainage ditches, and anything that we can do in rain. We can still do some tree work and even weed removal and things like that. But a lot of concrete work and crack sealing, asphalt work, those things have to go on the B list, or on the alternate list. But so the aquatic center's coming along. I was up there Friday. It'll be ready to open up in May, beginning of May. So yeah, just continuing a lot of projects. We're looking at doing a pretty good amount of work up there at Oak Grove Cemetery in preparation for Memorial Day weekend.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, last year. Well, we're doing put some new flagpoles up.
Okay.
We replaced 2 of the older flagpoles, and then one of them that's been up there for a long time. We were able to take it down, and we're repainting it. We're going to put a new flag on it with all new accessories and everything, and then we're going to put it back up in a different location, but it's going to be where it's visible from the main entrance. And before it was kind of hidden back behind some trees, and the trees taken over, you can't really see it. So we're moving it. They've been doing a lot of paving, patching up there of the roads. I shouldn't say paving because it's all patchwork, but we're going to be doing some painting and some new signs and things up there, and then just keeping up with the mowing and the trimming. We want all the cemeteries to look good for Memorial Day weekend.
Right.
That's our goal with those. But we're looking later in the year. We're going to try to repave everything on the lower areas up around the chapel.
Okay.
Do some work on the chapel. We're going to put some new windows in it, and fix it up, and paint the office building. And so there's going to be some good work going on up there this year. Another thing we're looking at doing is adding columbarium space to all cemeteries, which is space for cremated remains.
Okay.
Right now we're ground burial only with everything. There's some limited space for cremated remains in Mound Cemetery, and we want to be able to make that available for families that want that service. So we're looking at making the investment with those in all the cemeteries. Okay. And they'll be above ground. It'll be kind of just a miniature mausoleum for cremated remains. And so we're looking at that. Levee work, that's ongoing. Guys are going to probably next week or so, we're going to be removing a lot of the old bushes and things that have gotten so big down there that we can't do anything with anymore. Take all that out, put new landscaping in around the parking lot, and the fountain, and the levee itself. Some new lights, put up a new flag down there. Got lights on it. So yeah, just another week of some good projects.
Right on.
Yeah.
Okay. So mostly continuing projects.
Yeah, a lot of what we have is stuff that we've started, or we just continuing on. There's a couple projects we're going to, the public's going to see that we're kind of like jumping around on some things, and that's only because we've got schedules to meet on certain things and manpower considerations. So where they might see a project that we started and maybe haven't completed that yet, we're kind of jumping around and starting another project. It's only because of scheduling And some projects we're using contractors on, and
Mhm.
sometimes we're doing, half the job ourselves and then hiring out certain specialized things. So the public might see a little bit of bouncing around, jumping
Right.
around, and not getting everything completed at once. But we're going to be coming back and getting that stuff completed once we get the other stuff completed. So
I gotcha.
it's all just with weather and manpower and time and deadlines and it's like the storm the other night.
Oh.
We got inches of rain in an hour or whatever, and Rathbone area got
Oh yeah, that's
got
where I
pounded
live.
pretty
We
good.
got a little bit of flooding.
Yeah.
And we actually have the system in the basement that's supposed to prevent flooding. It overloaded it.
Right.
And had to go down with mops and towels and stuff. But it wasn't as bad. It's happened one other time.
Yeah.
It wasn't too bad, but
Yeah.
did flood. Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, since we're on the Rathbone, what's the deal with that?
Well, there's a plan on the shelf that was done probably, I don't know, 8, 9, 10, 12 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And they identified a lot of things that needed changed. And at the time, I think the price tag was at $750,000.
Oh wow.
Which is too much for us to take on right now without a grant or some other funding source. And there's things that we can do up there that would prevent a lot of flooding. One is just keep the drains and the lines cleared.
Right.
And that's what happened the other night. There was either a huge amount of debris that came down with the flow of water, which clogged up the one drain there off of Rathbone. Right there at Rathbone and Lee was a main problem. So that's what happens. We can do our best to keep everything completely clear. We can check it all the time, but if we get a huge amount of rain carrying a huge amount of debris, it's just going to be a problem.
Right.
So that's one of the biggest problems we have is that. And then there's a few areas where we probably need some larger pipes to carry the flow.
Right.
You build roads based on a certain level of storm water, and you can't build all roads to take a 3 or 4 inch rain in 20 minutes or whatever. So they have to be built to accept the average rainfall and a little bit more. And so there's some improvements that can be made up there without going over the whole entire neighborhood and tearing up everything and putting in new pipes. But biggest thing is keep it cleaned out, and then there's a few things that need updated. And we need to get serious about that. It's been kicked around for years, and nobody's really got serious about it.
Yeah, I got some neighbors who have some opinions on that.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yep. So I'm going to try to push that we do something up there, and it may not be all at once. It may have to be phased in, but.
Yeah, it gets crazy. It gets crazy when it rains like that. Backyards look like a lake.
Yeah, oh yeah. Yeah, there's a few. Well, actually, I got called. It was about 11 o'clock that night, and I actually went up to the house I got called to, and it happens all the time in his basement. And
I know what you're talking about.
yeah. So and then I called, of course, the Public Works Department out, and then we had backhoes, street sweepers, and everything else up there, and on Colgate, and we didn't get completed with everything until 2 or so in the morning. But it's one of those things where we can't ignore the fact that it happened, and we can't just wait for it to dry up and go away. We had to go up there and physically remove the debris off the street. So. Yeah, it's definitely on our radar.
Well, that's cool. That's good to know that there's some movement on that. I had no idea.
Right.
That's good.
Yeah, it's it's not finalized or formalized yet, but it's definitely in our workings. So.
Okay.
But and there's always drainage problems. Even in downtown, we've got a mixture of old clay lines and some old patch jobs and things that have been a problem over the years, and old brick catch basins that aren't holding up.
Yeah.
And even our, our sewer lines, we get a lot of infiltration into those because some of those aren't separated, back and before the sanitary sewers were put in, everything was put in the same pipe, went to the river.
Right.
And so when they separated everything and all the sewer goes to the treatment plant now, there's still a few pipes that, are carrying all that rainwater to the plant. And that's why we've got that huge retention pond out there, because if we didn't, sewer would be backing up because we couldn't treat it fast enough.
Yeah.
So big rains are a problem, not just for residents, but for our systems. And things just get overloaded and can't handle it.
Mm-hmm.
So, trying to think of any other sign of Dora, that'll take effect. We had an overwhelming majority, I would say, was in support of the Dora. So, and we don't anticipate any problems. It's going to be policed, it's going to be watched. There's a boundary set up, there's a time frame to participate in it, and the bars or restaurants that are participating in it will be a player in it too. So
it seems like a nice measured approach, because it's not like you're turning this into Las Vegas where it's like everybody can drink whenever they want.
Right.
No, it's like very controlled, so that's why
very
I think that's why it got so much support, because it makes sense.
Right.
It's like, well, okay, yeah, a few hours, couple days,
right.
monitored,
Exactly.
most people can get behind that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's controlled is a good word for it. Yeah. Controlled. Yep.
All right. Well, if there's nothing else, I mean, if you do think of anything else, just give me a call or shoot me an email.
Sure.
But I think that's pretty good. Well, thank you very much.
Sounds good.
For your
Yep.
time.
Thank you.